Hello, my name is Aaron Hartman, and today we will be talking about Henry Ford. Henry Ford was an inventor who lived during the 1920s. He produced techniques in the car industry. He aimed to produce and market affordable cars for the people of the public through the use of his new technology. Ford had owned a factory in Detroit, Michigan. His factory was the largest in the world. The people who had worked for Henry had earned $5 per day, which was double their normal pay rate. By the time 1929, Americans had owned 23 million cars, one of the most famous being Henry Ford's Model T. Ford had an idea to build cars on an assembly line. The method was cars would move slowly along the assembly line, with each worker doing one small task. With Ford's method, cars would take 1 hour to build with the assembly line process. Coca-Cola is delicious, good to the last drop. Coca-Cola will quench your thirst, put vim into your tired brain and body. Cooling, refreshing, thirst-quenching, Coca-Cola. And good evening, I am Aaron Hartman. The right for women to vote has been formally added to the Constitution of the United States today, when the Secretary of State Bainbridge Colby announced the ratification of the 19th Amendment. Colby reported the proclamation at his office today. The certification said that the state of Tennessee had become the 36th state to ratify this amendment. A large group of suffrage leaders waited for the state certification and met Bainbridge Colby at his office today. People wanted to have a ceremony for the ratification of this amendment. Suffrage leaders requested that he run through the ceremony again. Colby explained how he would consider doing it over again. The suffrage leaders did not want to wait for Colby to make his decision, so they left the state's department office and headed back to their headquarters. Miss Alice Paul, who is the chairman of the National Women's Party. Miss Paul states the leaders of her party will not rest their attention to assure that there will be no further attempts to take away the privilege that the women had won. Ms. Paul will immediately travel to New York to attend a conference where the National Women's Party convention date will be determined. The Pepsi drink cures indigestion. The best and the purest soda fountain drink. Pepsi braces the brain and the body. Hey, it's Aaron, and now we're going to be talking about the Jazz Age and Louis Armstrong. During the 1920s and 1930s, jazz, dance, and music gained widespread popularity across the United States. This is known as the Jazz Age. The Jazz Age was characterized by liberal social behavior and economic prosperity. The decade was also known as the Roaring Twenties. More people lived in cities rather than country areas. The newest mass production of automobiles gave people the freedom to travel whenever and wherever they wanted to. Americans, particularly those who lived in cities, had more disposable income than ever before as a result of financial growth. One of the most exciting and well-liked entertainers of his time was Louis Armstrong. He became famous all over the world and was the first African American to host his own radio show and get a leading role in a Hollywood film. This is one of his songs titled, "What a Wonderful World."
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright blessed days, dark sacred nights, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the skies, also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a